Welcome to Fort Donnelson National Battlefield. This is in Tennessee, just south of Land Between the Lakes, on the banks of the Cumberland River. Fort Donnelson was a place of battle between the Union and Confederate armies in February of 1862, where the General Ulysses S. Grant won the Battle of Fort Donnelson. Where? Oh. If you watched my last YouTube video, you would have seen that we went hiking in the Fort Henry trail system, actually in Land Between the Lakes. Fort Henry is actually underwater. It was flooded over when they dammed up the Tennessee and Cumberland rivers to make Lake Barkley and Kentucky Lake. Many of the trails in the Fort Henry trail system are named after what they were actually used for during and around this time of battle. You have the artillery trail and the telegraph trail in the Fort Henry trail system that were used for those names. One trail was used for moving artillery back and forth, and one trail was used as a telegraph trail for communications between Fort Henry and Fort Donnelson. And this clip here is just showing the artillery cannon placement, showing that the cannons were on a rail system where they could be maneuvered in such a way that they were very accurate to the boats coming down the river that they were trying to defend against. So surprisingly, in this battle, there were actually 507 Union soldiers killed and 327 Confederate soldiers killed. Now the Union won, but that's because they had a much larger army. 24,531 Union soldiers versus 16,171 Confederate soldiers. I'm going to try to keep or let this these next few clips speak for themselves. This is the National Cemetery close to the battlefield, where all of the soldiers, or a lot of the soldiers, were buried and laid to rest. Okay, I just want to come back for a quick second to point out these graves that I'm coming up on here. There were coins on these graves, and I had no idea about this, but leaving a penny at the gravesite meant that you simply visited the person's grave. If there was a nickel there, that meant that you trained with the deceased at boot camp. If there was a dime on the grave, it meant that you served with the deceased in some capacity. And if there was a quarter, that meant that you were there with the deceased when they died in battle. Now, there were still some quarters, very few, but there were still some quarters on some of these graves. And I just think it was a great way to show respect for the people that were in this cemetery that died on both sides. I thought it was a very neat gesture and something worthy of talking about. I want to thank everybody for watching the video, and please have a blessed day.